Good morning, good afternoon, puckheads. It's your buddy Choppadong. Gonna come at you with a slate breakdown today, video style, because it's too much information for me to write, and I'm way behind on my research process. I've been helping a lot of guys in our VIP Slack channels lately, a lot of direct messages, some one-on-one coaching, as well as a little bit out in the group. But I've mostly been busy this morning doing a lot more of the VIP type stuff. So I apologize for not getting this information out to you sooner. We're gonna try and blow through it all in a video format, and we're gonna see where that takes us today. You want to see the process of what I go through. I haven't written hardly anything down yet today. I'm very unprepared, but I'm going to dive in. I'm going to try and rock this thing off the cuff and just kind of fly by the seat of my pants. Hopefully you get something out of it. My name's Choppadong. I'm a coach and contributor at DFSArmy/ref/3. Or dfsarmy.com/rev/3. Coupon code CHOP, CHOP, get you 10% off. That link and that code will be down in the comment section of the video. So I appreciate if you give it a click, come give us a try. We've got a lot of free content. We've got sports, DFS sports all over the place, and a lot of coaches and contributors inside there that do exactly what I do, which is dig in and help you become a better player. Teach you some of the fundamentals, what to look for, who to look for, how to put them together, and how to become a better player. We do a lot of that one-on-one inside our private Slack channel forums. We do put a little bit of stuff out on the internet for free content just to show you guys what we're all about and hopefully find the people that are looking for us. It's basically what we're about. It's what we're doing. So anyway, buckle up. Let's fly as fast as we can through this. I've got a couple of things that I want to show you, and we'll see how far we get into the process today. What I'm looking for in the matchups, this sheet is proprietary to dfsarmy.com. It is inside our research station under the NHL tab. You got to be a VIP to access it, but it's a pretty cool tool. Columbus 141 favorite over New York Rangers. We know that New York Rangers are bad. Red is bad, green is good. We know that Columbus is tending to shoot. Top 10 shooting team. Not shots on goal. Corsi is shots directed at the net. They can get blocked, they can go wide, but anything fired at the net is going to register as a Corsi number, tally, point, whatever you want to call it. So if we look at the Corsi 4 over 60-minute samples, we got over the last 3 weeks, Columbus is the 9th most shooting team, most active shooting team. And that means that they just tend to throw a lot of pucks at the net. The more pucks they throw at the net, the more tend to go in. What we're looking for is a team that gives up shots, that allows shots, that doesn't play such tight defense that you can't shoot the puck. And we found that in the New York Rangers. When I look at their numbers on the season, they are the second worst shot, defending team, meaning they allow a ton of shots. So I've got a top 10 team that shoots going up against a bottom 2 team allowing shots. That's a great matchup. That's a bump for Columbus. And the reason I bring that up is some of you guys play NBA. You understand this. When a team goes against a faster-paced team, they're going to get more possessions. They're going to get more opportunity. They're going to have a bump in their production. And what that translates to is pricing and value. In DFS, it's all about pricing. If I had, Sidney Crosby or Alexander Ovechkin, and they're usually $9,000 players, and all of a sudden tonight they showed up at $4,000, well, hell, everybody'd roster them. Why? Because for what they do on a night in and night out basis, that's dirt cheap for that production. So you're going to play it because it's value. Price predicates everything that we do in DFS. So when I see a team that is going to outperform its season averages, most likely, a team that shoots a lot and is going up against a team that allows a ton of shots, is like being paced up in the NBA. They're going to outperform this shot number most times. Therefore, they're going to give my players more opportunity to score points. Therefore, my players are a little bit underpriced for their production, or what their production should project to. Hopefully that makes sense. That's a big picture to wrap up into one tiny little bow and put on a Christmas gift, but it's a massive, major concept of DFS. If I'm looking for a season-long average of a player that's running at 8,000, that's fine on any given night. But if all of a sudden he's running into a softer matchup, whether it be more shots on goal or more goals allowed or more whatever, he's running into a softer matchup, he should outperform his current price. Therefore, he's going to be playing tonight. The nature of daily fantasy sports, he's going to be playing tonight at a potential discount. So I'm going to like that guy. I like Blue Jackets tonight. Let's just put it that way. Now, knowing that, let's fly down this list and let's look for other targets. Dallas and Washington. Washington's a little bit red. Dallas is a little bit green, and Corsi allowed. Washington should get a bump on their shots on goal, so maybe we like Washington. Pittsburgh, a lot of green going up against some red in New York Islanders. Pittsburgh against the Islanders. We know the Islanders are a terrible defense. We love us some Pittsburgh tonight. Love, love, love. Lots of Pittsburgh tonight. Edmonton Oilers, Carolina Hurricanes. Carolina, a lot of green. Now, this works in the reverse, too. For Edmonton, who tends to shoot a lot, going into a team that does not allow shots, is going to be a bump down. They're also on the road. It's going to be a bump down, most likely. So, I don't like Edmonton as much tonight. Edmonton also is in the process of imploding. Their goals for have dropped from 2.7 on the season down to 2.3 lately. That's half a goal almost under what they typically produce. If they're going to produce less and their prices haven't changed, guess what? They are now overpriced. I'm not going to like them. Now, you want to throw them in a tournament and hope that you get lucky and they defy the odds, go for it. But the odds, the majority, I guess the safer play is to say, nope, overpriced tonight, move on. Unless there's a real dirt cheap guy on that team that's running hot, and you might take him as a one-off. Carolina, shooting a lot and not really intimidating. Edmonton Oilers not really stopping a lot of shots. So I like Carolina tonight. They're also at home. They're also favored. They're also implied to score, a few goals. I like that scenario, so I will be looking at Carolina tonight. Florida and Ottawa. Ottawa allows a ton of shots. Florida doesn't take a ton of shots, but when Florida does take a lot of shots, they tend to score. Florida has one of the hottest top lines in all of hockey right now, has been for 2 weeks or more. So they're pretty efficient with their scoring. Look, their goals are up. Goals for on the season are 3.23 or 2.7 for the last few weeks. So what we're looking at is a team that doesn't shoot a lot but does tend to score. So they're efficient with their scoring, and they're going into a game where they're going to be able to shoot even more. So I like Florida tonight. Florida's potentially a little overpriced. Their prices have caught up to them. But in a scenario like tonight where they're going into a game where they should outproduce their season averages, you got to like them. You also got to like Vegas putting it as a 6. Philadelphia Flyers, Detroit Red Wings. Don't really like anything about this game. Corsi for is not great. Corsi against is telling me Detroit's not going to get a lot of shots on goal compared to usual, and they don't even shoot anyway. So I don't really like it that much. They don't really allow a ton of shots either to make me excited about Philly. So I'm kind of out. Toronto and Tampa Bay, I do like this game a lot. I know Toronto allows shots typically. I know that Tampa Bay shoots a lot typically. I know that Toronto's offense can be great, and I know that Tampa Bay's defense can be suspect. So this is a game that could shoot out. Could be a really, really good game. I'm going to be watching that game. LA Kings, Winnipeg Jets. Winnipeg plays better at home. LA's a little bit of a defensive team. Don't really know where I feel on that one. A little bit kind of in between. So we'll have to look for other indicators on it. Colorado Avalanche, Chicago Blackhawks. Chicago's packed it up, mailed it in. Colorado's great, but Colorado's pricing has come way up lately. That may still bring value. It might not. We'll have to look at it a little bit deeper. Vancouver and Golden Knights. Vegas. Here's the thing I'll tell you about Vegas. This is kind of important. Vegas is carrying a huge favorite tonight. Almost a minus 300, and that's great. And that means that Fleury's going to probably be the most popular goalie on the slate. Now, he probably on an 11-game slate will have his ownership diluted. He probably won't be some 50, 60, 70% goalie tonight, but he'll be up there. He'll be one of the highest owned goalies out there, and for good reason. Vancouver is not a real offensive team. Look, 1.9 goals in their last 21 days, their last 10 games. Only 2 goals per game. And they weren't scoring a lot to begin with. They weren't a great offensive team to begin with. And they're on a little bit of a slide, a little bit of a slump. So that bodes very well going into Vegas. The problem is Vegas has a leaky defense. So, if you're a contrarian tournament guy, you might play some Vancouver Canucks knowing that everybody's going to be on Fleury. But that's a different theory for a different day. What I'm going to tell you about Vegas is their offense, because I'm more worried about their offense. Look at this. It's dropped from 3.35 down to 2.5. Why is that? My theory is that because Riley Smith is out and James Neal is out and the lines are all shuffled up and screwed up, we've lost a lot of the chemistry in Vegas that made Vegas great. And what I don't enjoy is until these guys come back and get back in the in the routine a little bit, I don't enjoy the prices that I have to pay for those Vegas Golden Knights. You can't argue their production's way down. And when their production's way down and their prices haven't come down to meet this, they're not a value. Therefore, I'm overpaying for what's going to wind up being crap. That's like going to the store and, paying twice as much for your Oreos and then getting home and they're still stale. It just isn't going to work, man. So the people that play Vegas offense tonight, if it ends up blowing up and going for 5 goals and Carlson and Hala and Perron and whatever end up scoring a bunch of goals for you, those people got lucky. I'm going to tell you right now, they got lucky. You've got to be able, as a DFS player, you've got to be able to decipher that and say, I was right, they were wrong, they got lucky anyway, c'est la vie, tomorrow's another day. Happens all the time in a volatile sport like hockey. It's like, if you're a poker player, it's like looking under your cards and seeing 2 aces. Oh my God, I got bullets. Well, bullets don't work for me. They always get cracked. Maybe it's how you play them. If you're a poker player, you know what I'm getting at. Maybe it's because you don't raise big enough pre-flop. Maybe it's because your fundamentals aren't there. I'm telling you, fundamentally, Vegas is not an offense to play. Now, I play poker a lot with guys that limp those aces and then, they hold up. Or because they limp those aces, they got 5 guys going against them that somebody outflops them and then fleeces them because now the guy can't let go of his aces anymore. And the next thing you know, he's like, see, they never work. No, it's not that they don't work. It's that you play them like a moron. They work. Aces work if you play them correctly. DFS works if you play it correctly. This is not correct. Now, just like playing aces incorrectly and limping those into 5 or 6 people, sometimes they do hold up. And when they do hold up, it can sway your mind and make you think, man, I must have did it right. No. Recency bias, cognitive bias is a big thing in daily fantasy sports. Another thing we talk about inside our VIP program quite a bit. You've got to know when you're making the right play, even when it doesn't pan out. And you've got to stick with it. It's what you see all those guys on Twitter talking about, #trust the process. Stick with the game plan, man. You got to know the fundamentals and stick to the fundamentals to win at this game. You get off the track, off the fundamentals, and you're going to end up playing teams like Vegas that are massively overpriced. And sometimes they're going to work for you, and it's going to reassure you that it was right still when it was not. And like Forrest Gump, that's all I have to say about that. New Jersey and San Jose. San Jose is running pretty good. 3 goals up, a goal per game. Over a goal per game over the last 21. Hot offense. Goals allowed, about the same. Shooting, Corsi against, not great. So, but San Jose plays better at home and they're at home. They might be an offense to key in on. Let's jump back on track. Let me show you something about line production here. The way I finance, I go to Skaters, I scroll over here to line production. Leftwinglock.com is the place to go. I click 10 game sample size forward combos, click submit. It opens up this window. I open this little thing up to 25 entries, and I start looking for goals for. Who are the hot offenses? Okay, we've already mentioned some of them. Florida, hot, hot, hot. Winnipeg, 3, hot. Colorado, 1, hot. Anaheim, not playing tonight. Columbus, 2, hot. Ottawa, 1, hot. Columbus, 1, hot. Colorado, 3, hot. San Jose, 1, hot. Calgary, New York, 2, hot. Columbus. Did I just mention Columbus 3 times? 1, 2, 3. That's a good offense. That's an offense you could spread out within and get a lot of pieces of people that are rolling really, really well. You might run Wenenberg at center or Jenner on the wing for value and then drop down to the other hot line and pick up an Atkinson or a Panarin. Drop down to this line and pick up a Foligno, something like that for more value. And you've got these lines covered. If the power play stacks up with a guy here and a guy here on the top line, like let's say, and I don't know this for sure, but let's say that Jenner and Dubois are on the power play 2. Run those 2 together. And at even strength, you've got a guy on the ice almost all the time. And on the power play, they overlap, which means one might pass the other. It puts it in, you double dip those points. Perfect cash play, especially tonight, being that we're going up against a not so strong offense or defense in the New York Rangers, and we got 3 lines rolling into them that are running pretty well. When I scroll down a little bit, you could run it back with the Rangers too. Pittsburgh, hot. Philly got a couple lines rolling pretty good. Tampa Bay, a couple lines rolling pretty good. A Toronto line, another San Jose line. So a couple of Tampa Bay lines, a couple of Philly lines, a couple of San Jose lines, a couple of others. We're doing all right. So let's keep on looking here as we rock and roll down the list. And let's switch over to the defense. And let's see who's playing poorly and giving up goals. What I'm really looking for, there's the New York Rangers. That's what I wanted to see. I've got the Islanders who are facing Pittsburgh tonight, and I've got the Rangers who are facing the Columbus Blue Jackets tonight. And we know there are a couple of decent Philly lines. We know there are a couple of decent Columbus Blue Jacket lines. So what we're going to do is we're going to dive into that just a smidge, and I'm going to show you how to find the matchups. Skaters, line matching. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull down here, and let's start with Columbus. And let's find the player going up against, see if we can't find the 2. Line 2 would be Wenenberg. Remember that? And we're going to go down here to the Rangers, and we're going to pick a date. When did they play last? November 17th. Going back a ways, but that's the most recent game we got to go with. And I'm going to scroll down here, and I'm seeing nothing. One of the guys could have been hurt. So let me go with the 1. Columbus. Where's Panarin? Panarin's been on the 1 most of the year. I go back to the New York Rangers. I select that date again, and let's see if Panarin played up against these guys. Panarin went up against, and the lines have shuffled in New York quite a bit, but Panarin had played up against probably the 1. This was probably the 2. So if the 1's going to match the 1, and the 2 might end up matching the 2, who would be on the 2? It wasn't Jenner. It wasn't Atkinson. Who would have been on the 2? Could it have been Foligno? Let's try that one. Go back to the Rangers. Pick that date. Hopefully Foligno played in that game. He did, and there he matched up on the 1, so he must have been on the 1. Let's see. Gosh, who else is left? This one's going to take some digging. Maybe I can go in the reverse fashion and grab the New York Rangers and grab let's grab Zuccarello because he was on the 2. And let's go grab the Columbus Blue Jackets, see if we can reverse engineer this one. And when I scroll down here, I've got Atkinson, Dubinsky, and Jenner. That's an interesting line. Dubois, Bjorkstrand. Dubois wasn't even on the 1. Panarin, Foligno, Anderson was probably the 1. So, the 2 ran up against probably the 2. So if I can think that the 2 ran against the 2 and the New York Rangers, the second line is the leakiest line, I can bet that Wenenberg and Jenner line is going to match up against it. That's what I'm trying to find out. That's what I'm trying to solve. Okay? Different way to do it. Now, much easier way to do it would be to go into Pittsburgh, and let's grab that Malkin line, because we know that's the 2. And go up against the Islanders and check that date, March 3rd, so pretty recent, and see who they matched up against. They matched up against the 2, so the 2 matched the 2. They didn't get out there very much with the 1. Okay, so when I look at who's the leaky line again, who did we say was the leaky New York Islanders line? I think it's the 1. So I want the 1. So when I get the 1, I know that's going to be Crosby. See how this process of elimination works? Just takes a little bit of poking around. Crosby's up here alphabetically. Hello. New York Islanders, March 3rd. And now what I've got is the 1 matching up against the 1 60% of the time. So the 1's going to go against the 1, the 2's going to go against the 2 in Pittsburgh. So when I go back and I want to see how this ends up working, I go back to the production line. I hit the 10-game sample size. I click submit. Wait for the slow computer. That's always fun. All right, 25 lines. We go up against the goals against New York, the 1. So the 1 and the 1, Crosby's in the better matchup tonight. I wish Crosby was running a little bit better with his line. But they're in the better matchup. They've got the leakier line. If I scroll down a little bit, maybe I get lucky and find the second New York Islanders line. Maybe I go to page 2. I'm getting down into where they're not giving up a ton of goals. Where are you, Islanders? Don't see it. Okay, so the 2, maybe Malkin's not in such a good spot tonight. Okay, so those would be lines I would be targeting. The top line in Pittsburgh, I'd be targeting the probably either 1 or 2, but probably the 2 in Columbus, and I'm matching up against the worst line defensively that the other teams have to offer. That's part of this game that we play. The other parts, we go back in here, we start looking for value, and then I'll wrap it up and let us go. But when I'm looking for the Columbus Blue Jackets and the New York Rangers tonight, and I want the 2, I'm going to find this isn't the 2. Again, okay, let's go back and do something different. Let's go skaters, line combos. Let's find the 2. And this is the hard part when this happens. Even strength game day, what I'm going to do is do this a little bit differently. And instead of the game day, I'm going to do most recent 3 games. And I'm going to get percentages of times these lines are together. And I'm going to tell you that the 1 doesn't change. Atkinson, Panarin, and Dubois don't change. Vanek, Wennerberg don't typically change. We'll teach you Dubinsky and Calvert don't typically change. And Foligno's down on the 4. He's not on the 2. This is not the 2. The 2 is Jenner and Wennerberg. So being that they're not in my research station on one of the top 2 lines, I got to go digging manually. And I got to find Jenner. I got to open him up. And pardon me while I change my size down a little bit so that I can see this a little bit better. I go to the game log, and I'm going to go down 10 games. And I'm going to count back just like my research station does inside the VIP program at DFSArmy.com. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to count up the goals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 goals in his last 10 games. 1, 2, 3, 4 assists. 5, 4. Now I'm going to count shots on goal. 4, 6, 7, 11, 15, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 3, 4, 25, 6, 27, 8. So 28, 5, 4, 28 is a pretty solid number for a $4,600 player. He's bringing value to you right now. 5, 4, 28. How does that compare to some of these other guys in the same price range? You know, let's find a 4,500. 5, 4, 28 beats it. Run over here. 5, 4, 28. Spooner's probably playing a little better than Jenner. But according to the pricing and according to what I'm going to try and find, you know, 4,500. 5, 4, 28 blows Janmark away. 3, 0, 35 blows Eller away. He's going to be a more valuable player to me. If I come down here and look at 4,000 Hagelin, 1, 3, 25, 5, 4, 28. Boone Jenner is playing better than Hagelin right now. He's more important to me. And he's in a good spot tonight. See where I'm getting at? 4,500, 4,800 for Russ, 2, 1, 16. Well, this is a 3, add 30%. About 4.5 shots on goal, so put that at about 20. So 2, 1, and 20 when I've got a 5, 4, 28 that I can use for $300 less. Okay? That's what I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to be value shopping along the way today as well. These are the things we talk about inside DFSArmy.com. Coach our players on. Boone Jenner is going to be a very valuable player, and he won't show up to a lot of our VIPs. They should know by now to go digging deeper, but he's going to show up out here. And Wennerberg's not on that list either. So when I look at Wennerberg, and I call it the exact same game log for a $5,000 player, he's maybe going to be bringing some value over his last 10 games. Only 1 goal, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 assists. 1, 8. Not shooting a ton. Don't lie. I don't like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12. 1, 8, 12. He's primarily a setup guy. If he gets you an assist tonight, that's what he's going to need to do to bring you value because he's not doing it through shots on goal. And he's not scoring goals on his own. So it looks like Boone Jenner's the one-off play on that line. And if Wennerberg does anything for anybody, they got lucky. It's really how that works. And sometimes guys will get lucky on you, and that sucks. But don't even think that that was a smart play tonight, because it's not. So this is kind of what I found out by digging into the numbers. I found out that Wennerberg and Jenner are in the best spot facing the leaky New York Rangers line, but I also found out that Jenner's the value play and Wennerberg is not. Now I can run Jenner if he's on. I got to go back to this. Sorry, it's starting to drag on, but so what we're going to have to do, you have to change this up to the power play unit most recent 3 games. And let's now take a look at where Jenner sits. Is he even? He's not even on it. How is that guy not on a power play? Man, doesn't that stink? Wennerberg's up on the 1, so there's where he's getting his assists from. He's up on the power play 1, and he's feeding the studs on the team. Can't believe Jenner's not on there sharing any power play time at all. That's a shame. Jenner's still a value play. Wennerberg is still probably not the right play, although that does help seeing that he's on the power play unit. Let's see, Dubois, Panarin, Werenski. If I wanted, now I know that Jones is a stud too. So if I could take Seth Jones, if he's not hurt, which he's probably still hurt, his numbers were great. Werenski's going to fill in on that 1, as we've seen. 3,431 for 5,300 isn't bad. And all 3 forwards up here on the 1 are on the top line. So if I had to, I don't want to split them up too much. I could take Jenner down on a different line, and I could take one of the guys from up here and get access to that power play. If I saw Wendenberg was running better and he's on the 1, I would take Wendenberg on the 2 to get access to Boone Jenner, and then I would run him with one of the 1s up here up top, and I would do that. But I don't like Wendenberg's numbers, so I'm not going to be excited about it. Scroll down here into Pittsburgh. We'll take another look here, and then we'll probably call it a day. Sorry we didn't get to the other offenses. Crosby for the price isn't running that great. 3.6, but he's in a great spot tonight. Might end up with a couple of apples. I think last time they played the Islanders, I think he did have 3 in that game. We practically called it inside DFS Army. Crosby has not been having a stellar. He's getting his numbers, but his price is too high for what he's producing. Malkin's really dropped off a little bit too. Hornqvist is very, very good, and he's on the 1. What you might do, if you want to capture a couple, we know the Islanders' offense is bad, even though that line 2 isn't too terribly leaky. It's still a -5 over the last 10 games. It doesn't show up on left wing lock, but I don't like that line. I want to attack it. I want to attack both the top line because I know that one's leaky and that second line. So what I'm probably going to do tonight, honestly, is run Hornqvist because he also is on the power play 1. He's going to get me access to Sidney Crosby, and I'll probably run a Letang or a Crosby with him. If I run Crosby and Hornqvist, now I've got, like I said, 2 different lines of scoring. Whichever line goes off, I probably got access to it. I got a ton of shots on goal. That's a huge floor. At 1.6 points per shot on goal, over 10-game sample size, it's only 9 games. Add 10% to that. Add almost 6 more shots on goal to that. And you're sitting at 62, 63. That's 6 points. 6 points at 1.6 per is over 8. He's got an 8 or a 9-point floor alone. Let's actually test this really quick. This is kind of the fun stuff, guys, that you get to poke around with when you've got time in a day and you're thinking about these slates and how valuable these players are. He's running over a 20 in 3 of his last 4 games. And look at that. And he didn't score in there and he got 9 points. There's his 8-point floor. Bad game, 8, 8, 9, 9. I mean, over his past 10 games, he's 9 single-digit points, 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and he's got upwards of 50 if he puts a couple biscuits in the basket. You've got a 25 and a 20 and another 20, and I mean, for the price of $6,600, he's pretty valuable. Hornqvist in the spot he's in tonight is pretty much a must-play. And then if you're going to run him up there with some of the Columbus guys, if I'm going to pair him with somebody in Pittsburgh, so I really want to take advantage of New York, I'm going to pair him with, like I said, with Crosby. And then I'm going to run up here in maybe this Blue Jackets game and grab some value with a Boone Jenner and maybe a Dubois at my other center spot. Maybe a Werenski on defense. I'm going to come down here to another game that I like Carolina, maybe take a player out of that, like an Aho. A little bit expensive. Teravainen's a little bit expensive, but I might take one of those guys. Run down a little further into Florida and take maybe Jugstead at 5,500. Maybe a defender in Matheson. Maybe, I don't know that I'd use Malgin tonight. Ekblad or Yandel maybe. Cruise down here into Philly, maybe Konechny at 5,800. Toronto, Kadri's the number 1. Marner's a little bit overpriced. Looking down this list, that Van Riemsdyk line is going to cause some digging on FanDuel and those game logs to find out how he's doing his last 10 games. Over here, JT Miller's running pretty hot. 5-5, 26, 26 plus 10% is 29. 5 goals, 5 assists, 29 shots on goal for 6,300 isn't terrible. Point and Gord down here on this bottom line aren't bad. We know that Tampa Bay 2 has been scoring okay. Gord's not bad, 2-5, 22. Not going to shoot a lot, but he might produce for you. LA Kings, Winnipeg Jets, Line A, how expensive is he? 8,400, 12 goals in his last 10 games, probably still worth it. Shooting 45 shots on goal in his last 10. Probably worth it. Ehlers is cheap access to it, so is Stastny. Stastny's very cheap access to him. Colorado, McKinnon is a beast, 12, 11, and 68. Bump that down 6 to make that a 10-game sample, 62. 12, 11, 62 for 9K, probably still worth it. If you can afford it tonight, that's going to be the hard part. You take Crosby, you're not going to be able to afford McKinnon. McKinnon's the better guy, but Crosby's in the better spot. So that's a tough call. Vegas we're off of. Vancouver not paying a lot of attention to. New Jersey, they're okay. Hall and Palmieri are reunited on that top line. I do like that. San Jose can be a little bit leaky, but they've been scoring really, really well lately. So I'm probably going to be focused more on Pavelski, Kane, Bodker. I guess Donskoy's hurt. But those are the rundown. That's basically who we're looking at tonight. Kind of how you break a slate down. Hopefully you followed along all of that. It was 30 minutes. I'm going to cut it there because, I just took half your lunch hour. And I apologize for that. But sometimes you really got to dig in on these big slates and just really just go through the process. And showing you guys the process helps you explain what we talk about inside DFSArmy.com all the time. Again, I'm Chapadong. I am a coach and contributor inside DFSArmy.com. Follow the coach. Follow the comment section where the link in the coupon code CHOP, C-H-O-P, will be, because friends don't let friends pay retail. Get that 10% off. And I will hopefully see you on the inside as we get geared up for some baseball action. I'm telling you right now, NHL and baseball are twin sisters. If you learn NHL, you've learned baseball. It's just a little bit different way of building your lineups. And the rest of it is all pretty much the same. So take care, guys. We'll talk to you more as the weeks roll on, and we will see you when we see you.